This is the Detroit Sports Podcast Network.
Do you play FanDuel and feel like you aren't creating consistent money-making lineups? Go over to the DFS Doctors on Twitter at the DFS Doctors and DM them with promo code Detroit Sports to get a free trial for their analytically formulated 70% lifetime profit rate NFL and NBA lineups. The whole purpose of playing daily fantasy sports is to get out there and compete and give yourself a chance to win. So go over to the DFS Doctors. Let them help you. They have analysts on staff that look at the best optimal lineup that you can put out there to win money. So why not take advantage? At the DFS Doctors, promo code Detroit Sports.
CBD is a game changer sweeping the nation. This hemp extract is the natural way to elevate your mood, eliminate aches and pains, reduce anxiety, and keep you sleeping all night long. It can even cut your workout recovery time in half. Get in the game today with 20% off all orders of CBD and lavender products from Lavender Lane, a lavender farm located right here in Milan, Michigan. Just go to lavenderlanemi.com today and enter coupon code Detroit for 20% off your entire order. Guys, look, these amazing products are infused with calming lavender to maximize their effectiveness, meaning your CBD items only take minutes to take effect, which is way quicker than those pills you were about to swallow. On top of it, they are perfect for men and women. Lavender Lane has lab-tested CBD creams, tinctures, and roll-ons that are perfect for any situation, even if you're on the go. Put your health back in your hands by heading over to lavenderlanemi.com and entering coupon code Detroit for 20% off your entire order of CBD and lavender products. What do you have to lose? Your satisfaction is guaranteed or your money back. So if you need lavender gifts for your loved ones or just looking for the natural way to ease your discomfort with CBD, go to lavenderlanemi.com and use coupon code Detroit to unlock these miraculous benefits of CBD and lavender. That's lavenderlanemi.com. And remember, use coupon code DETROIT for 20% off your CBD and lavender products from Michigan's own Lavender Lane.
Welcome in on a Monday to the Monday Mashup. Shea and Kevin, as always. And one thing we're not going to talk about a ton, we are going to talk a lot about the NBA as usual, but one thing we're not going to talk about a ton that everybody seems to continue to talk about nonstop is where Tom Brady's going to play football next year. Because, you know what? It's March 2nd. We might find out in like 16 days.
Yeah, so it's 2 weeks from whenever, but
we're not going to find out anytime between then and now.
No. I don't know why I'm so annoyed, because like I love this with the NBA, but with the football, I'm like, no, just shut up. Like, just shut up. I don't care. Like, we're not gonna find out. He's not. It's like Brady watch. We're gonna start having the planes and stuff, and I don't know why. I just don't want to hear it, but I just don't want to hear it.
I don't either. Well, obviously I don't want to hear it but I really am like, even in the NBA, when it's like a player you care about on a team that you like, it's still fun for the speculation. Right. The Tom Brady stuff, man, I'm just over it.
It doesn't seem fun at all.
It doesn't seem like he's having fun. And like,
I think part of it is like,
it does sometimes, because it seems like he's trolling the shit out of everyone.
Like, but I think part of it is like in the NBA, when you think of like a dude changing teams, you're like, oh, who's going to make it so that, they're immediately a championship contender right away. Like Kyrie and KD go to Brooklyn, all of a sudden they're going to win.
Yeah,
like that.
Kawhi going to LA. Oh, wow. They're
Tom
maybe
Brady
the best
going
team.
to Vegas, like the Raiders are going to win the Super Bowl. Like, they're not even going to win the AFC West. Like, I don't, like, it's not fun. Wherever he goes, his best chance to win is still New England. So I don't.
Right, I think that probably is part of it, because it's like, if he goes to the Chargers, are they immediately going to be a Super Bowl contender? Yeah. Are they going to win the Super Bowl? I doubt they'll win their division.
I think, they're going to win their division? Like,
if he goes to the Raiders, same thing. I don't think they win that division.
Same division, yeah. Like, if he goes to the Colts, like, would you really go to the Colts? And also, Deshaun Watson's in that division. Like, there's other people that, like,
Well, the Texans stink. But
they do stink, but they won the division last year.
If Andrew Luck had played for the Colts last year, I think the Colts would have won the division.
Fair.
No, I just...
the
idea of Tom Brady going to a different team is so weird. And the idea that we're like following Tom Brady around at Syracuse, North Carolina, which, by the way, if you are Tom Brady and Julian Edelman, go to a better college basketball team than two of the worst teams in the ACC playing in an awful college basketball stadium.
Syracuse like sneakily became the white dude school. Like Boeheim's kid, that Joe Girard guy, like they're Jerry McNamara is about to take over. It's very interesting what happened in Syracuse.
And whatever the hell happened in North Carolina this year.
Yeah,
they
top
get, 10 team
best
preseason
player
and
in high school, and all of a sudden he can't play, and they suck.
They are awful. I just pick a better college basketball game.
Future
but then we're
Piston
doing
Cole Anthony.
We're doing lip reading. We're doing lip reading, Kevin.
We are doing lip reading. That's a thing.
Oh, it looks like Julian Edelman said he's coming back.
He did
And
say
then-
that. You could hear that.
Yeah, but then Tom Brady's shaking his head and looks like he says he's not. I don't know what the hell he said.
I thought he said this guy.
I know. I've seen a lot of people say he said this guy, but
I don't know what he said. I don't know if he said this guy.
I don't know
not.
if he's it doesn't seem like he's going to sit there and go, he's not.
Yeah, that's right. If you're trolling people, he's not just going to look, oh, you know what? Syracuse basketball game, this is the forum to announce my decision. No, I will not be returning to New England. Could you imagine they'd get him for a 2-minute interview and Molly McGrath goes over, whoever it is. So Tom, he's like, yep, I've decided I'm not coming back to New England. But now back to the second half of Syracuse.
I think the other reason it's so much more annoying is because combine rumors are arguably the worst thing in sports.
We said this last week, right? If it's told you at the combine, it's either they want you to say it or it's a lie.
Yeah.
Right?
And that's the Matthew Stafford stuff. But it's not even, I heard it at the combine. It's like you have reporters who are just throwing baseless shit out.
Bernie Smilovitz.
Yeah, Bernie Smilovitz. The Lions want to trade Matthew Stafford. And it's immediately Bob Quinn comes out. No, we don't.
Bob Quinn says, who is Bernie Smilovitz?
Right. And then we get, that's incredible, by the way.
Awesome.
And then we get to the combine and you have the same deal where people are coming out. Yeah, the Lions are shopping Matthew Stafford. The general feel at the combine is that Matthew Stafford wants to push his way out of Detroit. And then his wife has to do another Instagram story and be like, no, we like it here.
It's about so much more than football too. Her doctors are here,
right?
Their
right.
kids, it's
they're having another baby.
Are they?
Yeah,
I didn't even know that. That's great. Congratulations.
And then you got to deal with Jeff Darlington going on Get Up, and then Adam Schefter has to aggregate it like it's an actual report, even though Adam Schefter has no leak here. But you get Jeff freaking Darlington on Get Up. The only way that this is going to get any ratings is if the only NFL reporter on the show comes on and goes, sources say Tom Brady's not going back to New England.
I would be shocked.
I would be stunned. Yeah.
Stunned. Excuse me. I get it right.
What? And then Peter King, 10 minutes later, writes an article and he's like, I would be floored if he's anywhere other than New England.
There's I don't even know what to make of the different. I don't follow enough NFL reporters or know who has more credibility than the next guy. But Peter King's a name I've been hearing for 20 years.
And so the thing about Peter King is he's one of the only guys, as far as I know, that has gotten access to be at Brady's Montana retreat during his off-season workouts with Amendola and Edelman.
What a sentence!
Right? Isn't that ridiculous?
What a sentence.
Isn't that ridiculous? But still. If you have the access that you're at Brady's Montana retreat interviewing people, you probably have more credibility than Jeff Darlington jumping on Get Up.
This has been said other places, but I just want to reiterate it. Every time I hear the name Jeff Darlington, I expect the next line to be wins Talladega.
Speaking of which, you know what I did yesterday? I watched the Auto Club 400.
I don't know what that is.
It's a NASCAR race.
I assume, but
I sat down and I was on my TV and I was like, wow, this is actually kind of fun.
Really? Did you bet on it?
Yeah.
Okay, there you go. I was like, you didn't just watch and think these guys driving in a circle.
I won,
this
too.
is for me.
I won.
Yeah, well, that's why it was fun.
So there we go.
I haven't watched a NASCAR race in I don't know, probably 20 years. My dad knew a guy who had a kid who was a driver. Not a good driver, even a famous. I'm pretty sure his name is Buckshot Jones. I don't know if that was his last name, but his first name is definitely Buckshot. And I feel like Jones is a good last name if your name is Buckshot. So I'm going with that. And I haven't watched a NASCAR race since Buckshot Jones stopped driving. So couldn't tell you a whole lot about NASCAR. But I digress.
Yeah, I did. So the only reason I did, I did some reading that morning, and there was an article about how to find value in NASCAR bets. And so I did some reading on the race, and I was like, I needed a bailout win. So I was like, let's just mess around and see if we can pull something off. And
you need a bailout win and turn to NASCAR.
I did some reading, man, and there was a plus 750 driver in third in the pole position with a fast car, and they're like, yeah,
is
it's
that
not
typical of NASCAR, like a plus 750?
There was nobody at even odds. Everybody was plus odds. It's a 32 team field. That's why people.
True. They have 32 drivers.
Yeah, people are going. Jesus. There's value to be had in this field, and so
I know nothing of NASCAR. I don't know how wide the track is. I don't know anything about it.
So I was doing reading, and it was like, just these three drivers. I was like, I'll take two of them. So I took a guy at plus 1,200 and a guy at plus 750 and the 751.
Is NASCAR having a moment? Like, is NASCAR about to come into the major?
House, is NASCAR having a moment?
I don't know.
I didn't know I could bet on it like this. It might be having a moment for me.
It might be having a moment. We're talking NASCAR right now.
It was not in the show notes. It was not part of the plan at all. I also watched some basketball yesterday, which is much more near and dear to my heart.
The court is 94 feet. I know how big the court is in basketball.
So Doris Burke said it on the broadcast where she was like, she's never been excited for the final 15 games, 20 games, however many you have left of a season as she is this season, because the battle in the West for the 8 seed is going to be exciting. The battle in the East for the 8 seed and for the 2 seed are both going to be exciting.
Well, the battle for the 8 seed will be, in the East will be,
It won't be exciting because you just know you're getting lined up to get assassinated. 50? You're lining yourself up to get assassinated by Milwaukee in the first round. The battle for the 2 seed is interesting because the Celtics and Raptors badly want to avoid Milwaukee until the finals.
Sure.
Both of them.
Absolutely. So the 2 and 3 seed, really. Though, those two are... I don't think Miami's jumping up 3.5.
Really, the fight for the 6th seed could be interesting with what's going on in Philadelphia, which I know said we weren't going to talk about because we did so much last week. They keep making headlines. Yeah. They are last year's Lakers and last year's Celtics, and that I don't want to talk about them anymore, but they won't stop making me talk about them.
Yeah, I mean, the injuries now, I think they probably are looking at the 6th seed. They're a half a game up on Indiana, who is getting healthier, even though they just lost Jeremy Lamb. But it's realistic.
We do have to get to Brooklyn because we're still relitigating last year's Summers, so we will get to that in a minute. But I just have to say quickly, for so much excitement in the end of an NBA regular season, these games suck.
Yeah, there was... I mean, that Houston-Boston game was an outlier on Saturday night. The buzzer beater by Jaylen Brown is just... That was comical. That was just something else. But we haven't had too many like, oh, wow, what a really great game. And even that one, like Marcus Smart, how like blatant of a lane violation was that play? Like, I wasn't going to be the guy on Twitter being like, lane violation, because I don't care. They never call it. But like he was in the middle of the lane tipping that ball out of Harden's hands like before Tatum let it go. It was clear, but no sense in that. But, I mean, you're right. Like, the games we are getting, even the end of like L.A. and New Orleans, it was, here or there. LeBron hit that 3, and I was like, this is over.
We did officiating last week, too. How the fuck was that Laker ball?
Officiating every week.
How was that Laker ball?
My thing was, and they didn't show it, like, but I assumed that it was that stupid thing we always talk about where the last thing it actually hit was Brandon Ingram's, like, pinky nail. So technically it's out on Brandon Ingram, even though Avery Bradley hit it out of his hands. But I hate that rule.
That's what I kept seeing. Because, if you hit it, if you swat the ball out of someone's hands, it's out on you. I don't care if it
the last thing is goes off the fingernail of my pinky.
I don't care if that's the last thing.
No,
that's different, by the way, than what we did last week when Anthony Davis was trying to grab a rebound and clearly hit the ball out with his pinky.
Right.
If you swat the ball out of someone's hands while they're driving. This is like the national
championship game, like Virginia and who did they play?
But they kept saying it went off Brandon Ingram's left thigh. In no camera
I never
angle
saw it go
did
off
it
the
touch
thigh.
his thigh or knee, and it's suddenly Laker ball. And I'm going, okay, at this point, are the Lakers in the officials' pockets? Like, are they just giving them the ball?
They were like not even going to review it, and then Vogel was going to challenge it, so they were like, okay, I guess we'll review it. It's like, well, duh. Like, first of all, you should be reviewing it anyways. You're under 2 minutes. Review the call. Like, it's out of bounds. But in the end, like, I hate that. Oh, it went off his, like, the pinky or whatever. It's like the guy hit it out of his hand. Like, if it doesn't go off his knee, then it's off the guy who hit it.
It's just so dumb, man. And, like, it feels like now, every time I see it, it goes in the Lakers' favor.
Yeah.
There was no way there was conclusive video evidence there. And they overturned a call.
I saw no conclusive video evidence whatsoever.
It's insane. Anyway, ball don't lie, because LeBron, for whatever reason, decided to walk out of the inbounds before
You think he did it on purpose?
I don't know.
Like, Kuzma looked floored.
I have never seen anyone other than Russell Westbrook do something that stupid.
Oh, they had a thing. Somebody, I can't remember what Twitter account did it. Bledsoe did it once this year, where the ref just gave him the ball and he just ran in.
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
I can't remember. There was another one somewhere. But, like, LeBron had one in Utah that didn't call. He took, like, 3 steps off catching. They didn't even call it. So, like, you fall asleep at the wheel. Credit to the ref, who at least was not asleep at the wheel at that particular moment and called it. But... because that one could have gone, like, you could have
Well, the camera
let it go. Like,
the camera cut so like, and this the refs don't know how the camera's cut.
Right.
But the camera cut in a way that if they hadn't said, "Oh, he violated," I would have never known.
right. And he still passed it in. He just
Yeah.
dribbled first. I don't know why he dribbled first.
It was
but,
weird, man. They won the game anyway. LeBron was lethal last night. I mean, lethal. The threes that he's hitting this year, the jab step back threes, those are disgusting.
Yeah, he clearly worked on that. I mean, Dave Pasch had a good point during the game where he was talking about his turnaround jumper, like when he goes back to the basket from the block.
Yeah.
And he's like, he's at the block and he shoots that from 2 feet inside the arc. Like, he gets so much space on that turnaround step back.
I feel like that's actually become a signature move for him
Yeah,
because I was
for sure.
back in the 2015 finals was the first time I really saw him break it out.
Well, I mean, to me, it goes back to 2011. Like, when that whole summer, he was like, I have to have a post game. Like, they just be like, I have to, like, he worked with Akeem. He did all those things where he was like, I have to have a post game. And I think this is the end result of like almost 10 years of work on that post game is he can do whatever the hell he wants down there.
He did it to Jaylen Brown at the end of the Celtics game. He was murderous with it last night.
You remember when he had it that last year in Cleveland and they were beating the hell out of Toronto in Toronto and he just started going to the post and scoring every single time?
And that's why I said the 2015 finals, because once Kyrie got hurt, game 2 and game 3, the games they won, he was just back to the basket, backing down Draymond, backing down whoever he got switched onto, and he'd turn around and fade away and hit a jump shot.
He backed down Zion.
It was insane, that finals. And yeah, last night, same thing. He was just posting Zion and hitting him with fadeaways.
I'll tell you what, though, that kid is something. Like,
He's so good.
there was a point where Dwight Howard had like 4 fouls in 3 minutes.
If they make the playoffs and he keeps playing like this, Rookie of the Year. I don't care. I'll give it to him. He's insane.
It's the whole body work. It's the same, but it was like Trae Young last year. And then Green, like, they didn't make the playoffs. They just had a way better second half than they did first half. But you look at like the whole body of work that Luka had last year. It's the same thing with Ja. It's like this dude.
The other thing too might be like, because who's going to be the better player going forward?
Right.
And you're going to give Zion more awards down the road than you're going to give to Ja. So you might just give this one to Ja.
Like, I will say this: if Zion had played the whole year, Rookie of the Year is unquestionably his. I think he'd be the first rookie to make an All-Star team. I think he would have made it. Like, there's no way Brandon Ingram's on the team if Zion's playing the whole year. So there's your spot right there. Like, I think he would have made the All-Star team as a rookie. I really do. He'd be averaging like 25 and 12.
Yeah, he's been incredible. I mean, what did he have last night? 33?
Yeah. On like 9 of 14, something ridiculous like that. Like, the efficiency for a guy who
And
doesn't...
he's not shooting threes.
To be 6'6" and score from inside like that with Dwight Howard on you, with all these different guys on, and he just does it easily. Well, not easily, but like...
The most incredible thing I see him do, whenever he misses his own layups and he just bullies whoever's around and
the
gets the
second jump
rebound.
is amazing.
Like, you're 6'6". You shouldn't be able to just bully guys like Anthony Davis to get a rebound. Like, it shouldn't be possible.
To be that weight at that size and move like that, like, it doesn't... I watched his slam dunk, the Powerade Jam Fest thing from when he was in high school was on. Like, randomly, I can't remember if it was yesterday or Saturday, but I caught it for like a half a second. And it was like, damn, if he gets to that body where he looks like just chiseled as all, like, get back to your high school body. You can still do that. You're 20. It's a thing you can do.
Yeah.
Like, if he gets back to that where he's 6'6", 255 and just cut and he's just strong as hell and moving, oh boy. Like, oh boy.
Last thing before we really get into the Brooklyn stuff was one other thing that bothered me yesterday. It was more with the broadcast, was ESPN is really pushing hard for LeBron to get another MVP. And like, as much as we were just talking before we started recording that anytime you bring up, hey, can X team that's not the Bucks win the East, people get mad that it's reductive of how good the Bucks are.
Right.
This is actually something I don't believe in, that because it comes down to, hey, can this team that's playing really good basketball beat the Bucks? That's a conversation that we should have. One that we shouldn't have is, can LeBron win MVP? Because it feels incredibly reductive of what Giannis has done this year.
Yeah, I mean, we don't talk enough about this because through recent years it hasn't mattered as much. But when you factor in both sides of the ball, like, Giannis is going to be first team all defense, no doubt about it. Yeah. He has a chance to be the first MVP DPOI winner since Jordan.
Correct.
Like, and I think it's probably going to happen. Like, it will not shock me if it happens one bit. What he's done, like, efficiency-wise also, you've never seen anything like Giannis.
No.
Like, and maybe that's why people are like, oh, voter fatigue or whatever. Like, this guy, we're just going to give it to him every year because he's bigger and faster and stronger than everybody else. It's like, yeah, but, like, he's bigger and faster and stronger, and he's locked in every second he's on the, like, there's bigger, faster, stronger guys who take plays off and do it. Like, this dude is a monster.
You even look back at the All-Star game, the second quarter of the All-Star game after they lost the first, and Giannis is out there, and everybody's kind of just messing around, and Giannis out of nowhere throws down like a vicious dunk.
Giannis won the second quarter.
Yeah, and
like,
you go
flat out.
Like, there's never a time, even in an exhibition game, where he's on a basketball court where he's not full tilt.
Right.
And the way he's done it, like we made the comps last year, he's having the best season, the most dominant season since Shaq. He's doing it again.
I think this is honestly, like, part of it is honestly that he's so private. Like, he doesn't want, like, even when you have Obama at the All-Star game telling you, share your story, it's amazing, you should be more open with your story. Like, that's a cue that, like, you could grow your public profile and you could do these things, and we talk about you a hell of a lot more if you do an interview, if you do something, like, other than a Hulu commercial.
Because like that, and we were talking about this before the show too. Why were the 73-9 Warriors so fun, and the 72 win Bucks potentially are not? And I like, a big part of it was, yes, Steph could light you up from 40 feet, and that was incredible to watch. While Giannis just bullying people isn't so incredible. Another part is Steph had Aisha Curry on a cooking show.
They have media ringmasters in Golden State. Steve Kerr is so good with the media. Steph is he's a professional athlete's son. He's been trained to be with the media since he was forever.
He's bringing
Same with
Riley
Thompson.
Curry up to the podium.
Clay, and you have Draymond, always is good for a soundbite. Like, you had Iguodala's great with the media. Like, those guys were such a blast to cover for those people. Like, it was great to watch all the coverage because everything you got was great every day. Like, who are you talking to in Milwaukee? You ever heard a Chris Middleton interview? I haven't.
No, and
like, the Lopez twins are a lot of fun. We don't hear about them.
No disrespect to Chris Middleton. I don't even know if I want a Chris Middleton.
No, I don't know a damn thing about Chris Middleton. He went to Texas A&M. That's what I know about Chris.
He's a really good player, but
like,
that's
not interesting.
Like, Golden State would swing their dick a little bit. They would let you know that they knew how good they were. Giannis will do that, like the sound bit last year of "I'm the baddest motherfucker on the planet" when he threw a dunk down, and it's like, that's cool. I wish there was a little more
microphone,
of that.
Please. Like, please go in front of a camera and do more of James Harden can't guard anybody and James Harden doesn't pass. Give me that every week.
Yeah, because right now it's just like they keep their heads down and go about their business, which is cool because they're incredible, but it's not fun.
The thing about, like, Golden State is they had the blue-collar work ethic, but they were all white-collar personalities. Maybe not Draymond, but even in a sense, Draymond is so outwardly boisterous that it's, like, fun. Nobody, like, the blue-collar attitude for Milwaukee, and I commend it because they bring their lunch pails and they work hard and they play at every possession. But they're just like, head down, I don't want credit, I don't want to, like you said, swing your dick a little. Like, you got 58 wins or 52 wins in 60 games. Like, come out and be like, yo, we're some bad motherfuckers up here. Take notice.
Yeah, because that's the other thing. The conversation lately has been dominated around the Celtics. You have Colin Cowherd opening his playoff preview the other day saying the Celtics are going to go to the NBA Finals. He picked the Celtics to beat the Bucks. He's on record. And he's not the only media person who's coming out and going, I don't think the Bucks can go to the Finals because XXX. Dude, they're 52-8.
52-8.
We can't keep framing it from like, I don't think they're going to make it because of this. I think you have to start framing it from, the Celtics have the best chance in the Eastern Conference to beat them. Can it actually happen?
Yeah. Another thing I don't like is when the Warriors were 52 and I think less than 8 when they got to 52, the conversation was, could they beat the Bulls? Could they beat the Knights? Could they beat whatever Bulls?
Right.
This team in Milwaukee, you don't hear that. It's like they have 52 wins in 60 games. Like, let's have the conversation. Could Giannis have stopped Jordan? Like, let's have that conversation.
I don't want to answer it because
Rodman did. Like, why couldn't he have?
I know. I don't want to answer it because like the Jordan people would be like,
oh, they'd
no
be down our
way.
throats. So, but honestly, what the fuck is Michael Jordan doing to Giannis? I know he's Michael Jordan. I get it. What is Kobe doing to Giannis? Rest in peace. Like, all these guys. There's one guy who I will say maybe he has something for Giannis. Wilt.
I was going to say Shaq.
Yeah, but even then, how's Shaq going to guard him? Like, I'm talking.
No, on both ends, I don't think Shaq would have anything for him. But
Giannis is Wilt. Like, he's just playing in an era where other people are also like Wilt.
Yeah.
It's just like, if you put Giannis and Wilt, he'd have those numbers.
Going back to the LeBron MVP thing, because I think Doris was half right when she was talking about she thinks LeBron could have 2 or 3 more MVPs than he does. I agree. I think there was voter fatigue when they voted for Westbrook over LeBron, when they voted for
who
Harden.
won in 2018? Yeah, LeBron could have more than one extra MVP.
Harden should not have won that MVP over LeBron. If we're being really honest about it.
The team that LeBron was on.
But they've awarded LeBron so many times. Like, there were definitely times when he was in Miami where it was like, can we really give this guy MVP again?
He won 2 in Miami, didn't he?
I know, but
and he could have won 4.
Like, that's the point. Like, and then he goes back to Cleveland. He could have won MVP every single season that he was in Cleveland. Every one.
Without a doubt.
In 2018, he played 82 freaking games.
2016. Like, it's so comical that he didn't get a single vote. Like, Steph won unanimously in 2016. That's so ridiculous. Like, he was pissed about that too. And it's like if I'm not going to win, it is what it is. But I could get a vote.
If
like,
you're
the
on a
dude in
team that's
Cleveland should have
73
voted
and
for
9,
me.
you should win MVP. But LeBron James on that Cavs team should have gotten a vote.
I mean, can you? I would be so pissed off if I'm LeBron and like McMenamin doesn't vote for me or Windhorst doesn't vote for me.
Right.
And that Cleveland people.
That especially.
It's like, hey, asshole. So you watch me every night.
Windhorst is on your private jet writing a fucking book about you, and he won't vote for you for MVP.
What the hell? Like,
and so, like, I agree with her in that sense that, yeah, he could have a few more, but the idea that he could somehow win over Giannis this year, I think, is incredibly reductive to what's been going on in Milwaukee.
It would be, I would be shocked, like utterly shocked.
Not to say, I think LeBron has played MVP basketball.
Without question.
I just think
He's leading the league in assists.
Giannis has been better.
Right. I mean, anytime you average 25 a night and lead the league in assists and your team is the number 1 team in the Western Conference, you better be an MVP candidate.
Right.
He better be runner-up.
No, and yeah, I don't think Giannis is going to win it unanimously.
No. Like, and he's been great. And is his season now just as good as the one Steph won? In relative terms, maybe, but he's not going to win it unanimously. I don't think we'll ever have another unanimous MVP.
All right, let's get into Brooklyn. So when it comes to Brooklyn, if you had told me last summer that on March 2nd, we would be relitigating the offseason of a team that signed Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving, I would have been shocked. But here we are.
Yeah, I mean, there were definitely questions then, right? Like
there were questions,
yeah.
but I don't know. The question was like, can Kyrie get him above a 6 seed this year? And once they both are on the floor together, they're just going to run away with the East, right? And now it's like Kyrie played 22 games this year, and I have no idea what they're going to be next year.
No, and I'm not like, it's not like Kyrie isn't amazing. Like Kyrie, when he plays, is what he played 22 games. He had 4 50-point games or something like that. Like he can still score with anybody. I don't necessarily think he makes other people better. And I don't mean he makes them worse.
I think he might.
You think he makes them worse?
I think he might.
I don't know that he makes them worse because he's
I think
still
there might
a great
be enough
playmaker.
evidence out there that I don't know. Like, I don't know that he actively makes his teammates worse, but I think he makes his teams worse.
I think he makes the chemistry on his teams worse. I will absolutely give you that. And that is a huge part of what you see on the court every night. I just think, like, if I can have Kyrie or not have him, I'll take Kyrie. You know what I mean?
I wonder if there's starting to be a little bit of Trae Young in there where it's like, you're going to fill the stat sheet. I just don't know that it's conducive to winning.
I will say this. LeBron doesn't go back to Cleveland. Kyrie Irving's career is Trae Young.
Yeah.
Like, it is the dude who just gets buckets on a bad team and never gets anywhere. Even if Kevin Love goes there and they team up, they're never winning shit. Like, they're not. I'm sorry, they're not. They were bad. They had decent players, and LeBron looked at it and said, okay, if you get rid of a couple of the guys you've drafted super high, like, you know, your last 2 number 1 picks, and give me Kevin Love and some vets, I might be able to figure this out. And even the beginning of Cleveland was not good. They had to get Waiters out of there. They had to get Shumpert and JR in there.
Yeah.
Like, Kyrie's career would be vastly, vastly different if not for that moment, because
really, even with that moment, if he doesn't have Game 5 in the finals and the shot in Game 7, are we talking about Kyrie the way we talk about Kyrie?
No, absolutely not. But I mean, you think about what Cleveland was at that moment. With Dan Gilbert having never extended a GM, David Griffin just hired David Blatt to be his head coach. Like, it's Kyrie listening to David Blatt, you think? I don't think so.
No.
Like, I don't think so. He'd been through 3 coaches already. So how are you going to say, oh yeah, he's going to listen to David Blatt? Like, no, he's not. Of course he's not. He's Kyrie Irving. And then all this stuff's going to come out. either way, like he didn't extend Griff when he won a championship. You think Dan Gilbert's going to extend Griff if they're bad? Like, who knows who the GM is? They probably would have hired Beeline years ago.
Oh yeah.
Like, and that wouldn't have worked out. And who knows where Kyrie is? Like, it's a whole thing. He was going to ask for the trade anyways because he asked for the trade after they went to 3 straight finals.
So now the thing with Brooklyn, you see a team that last year they were the 6th seed, right?
Right.
And they had so much promise with all of their youth and Dinwiddie and Joe Harris and
Good vets.
D'Lo. Yeah, smart vets, good presence. Like, it was a good team. It looked like
The
a very
infrastructure was
promising
absolutely
future.
there.
And then when you get the opportunity to trade D'Angelo Russell for Kevin Durant,
You do it.
you do it.
You do it. You do it. Of course you do it.
When you get the opportunity to also sign Kyrie Irving, you do it.
And right, and chicken and the egg. Like, you're not getting one without the other, so you got to do what you got to do.
Maybe you ask a couple questions when they decide without ever having spoken to you.
Maybe, but at the same time,
If you're getting Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant, you do it.
Yeah, like you just do it. Like even if they don't call you, because again, like KD's president of branding was Brett Yarmark, the president of the NBA or president of the Nets was Michael Yarmark, the twin brothers. Okay, there's a line of communication there at least.
This is the toughest part about it is like they didn't do anything wrong, so I struggle to say that they made a mistake.
They did one thing wrong.
Well, yeah, they did. DeAndre Jordan was a big mistake.
They did one thing wrong.
Getting Kyrie and KD, but like again, if that's what it takes to get Kyrie and KD, you got to do it.
Exactly.
So I don't know if I can still say that they did anything wrong, and it's hard for me to go. I think the Nets made a mistake last offseason, but I think they made a mistake last offseason.
I think they're in the midst of a mistake, and if they compound it, it will become a mistake.
Because you're now like. We looked at it and we're like, well, KD will come back, and Kyrie, he's not the greatest teammate, but he's a great player. And then once the two of them are on the floor, but now it's like Kyrie has shoulder bursitis, and KD's coming back from an Achilles injury. Like now we're getting closer to the return date, and it's what are we really going to get? Especially since now you see the Bucks are a powerhouse if they keep Giannis, and the Celtics are really good. The Raptors are good whether they have Kawhi or not.
And okay, so you just mentioned 3 other teams that have 3 guys. Who's the third guy in Brooklyn? Dinwiddie? He comes off the bench. Like, you gotta, like, there needs to be somebody, right? Because all right, so we said Boston, Toronto, these other teams, like, maybe Toronto doesn't have 3 guys.
Well, here's the thing. Toronto also might fade, but the thing, like, even if Milwaukee leaves, or if Giannis
counts
leaves Milwaukee,
as 3 guys. Giannis is one guy, but counts as 3.
If Milwaukee leaves or if Giannis leaves Milwaukee, I don't know why I keep saying it the other way around. Then they fade automatically. They're
certainly
a worse team.
Certainly.
The Celtics with Kemba and Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown and Gordon Hayward ain't going anywhere. Like they aren't getting worse.
And they're gonna get. If they lose Hayward, do they have money or are they just even?
No, they'll just be even.
Yeah, that sucks.
But I don't think that he's going to opt in. I'm pretty sure.
And you know what? You know what they have that Brooklyn damn sure doesn't have? Toronto does have, but Brooklyn damn sure doesn't have? A fucking GM that you'll go to war with.
Oh, yeah.
Like, Sean Marks is
Toronto,
okay.
Toronto might have because...
Well, currently they have one.
If Masai leaves, then they're also in trouble.
Right, but currently they have one. And Philly doesn't have it, for sure. Brooklyn doesn't have it, for sure, yet. Brooklyn is like, okay, Sean Marks, pedigree's there. San Antonio, all those things, sure. What's the move other than KD and Kyrie that you're like, oh, great one?
Well, and that's the thing is like Sean Marks isn't going to lose his job because he got KD and Kyrie. But the other thing is KD and Kyrie are going to make more of the decision of what the future of the Nets roster looks like than Sean Marks is going to. Like Kyrie's already on record. We need another piece next year.
Right.
And like it's pretty clear that Kyrie and Joe Harris aren't the best of friends, and I think Joe Harris is going to end up getting thrown under the bus there.
I can't believe that. I can't, like, why? What is it that Joe Harris did? Is you think you're not as smart as him and you have a complex about it because he went to Virginia? Like, what is it? Because I listened to Dudley on Low Post the other day talk about, like, there's 30 teams in the NBA that would love Joe Harris.
Yeah.
Like, even
it's
the
like
Nets,
whatever team
like the
Kyrie or
Joe
LeBron
Harris.
are on, they don't want Joe Harris.
No, I don't even think it's LeBron because I think Dudley's on the Lakers. We'd love Joe Harris.
True, yeah.
Like, it's something with Kyrie and Joe Harris. Must go back to Cleveland. I don't know. I'm hoping he just forgot to say his name. Like he just forgot about him and said Garrett Temple instead.
Yeah, I don't think that's what happened.
That's laughable.
I don't think that. If you remember that you played basketball with Garrett Temple and you don't remember that you played basketball with Joe Harris, which it's Kyrie Irving, so maybe we don't know what's going on up there.
Line up 60 front office people, 30 GMs and 30 assistant GMs, and 60 out of 60 will pick Joe Harris over Garrett Temple.
Absolutely.
And it will take 60 seconds.
Which I guess if that's a guy that you think you're going to get some return on, but that's where you need to add a third guy. And
that's not the guy to send out. The guy who
Right.
doesn't need the ball, who does nothing but rip threes and play defense. And on a decent contract, don't send him out.
Right. Like maybe Spence is the guy you should move to get a piece, because Spence you really could get a return on. Spence should be a
Hugely.
starting point guard somewhere in this league.
Absolutely. And this is so funny because they had him and they let him go for nothing. But how badly do the Bulls want Spencer Dinwiddie?
Yeah. Yeah.
Come on.
There are so many teams that want Spencer Dinwiddie.
Phoenix.
And that should be but again, it goes back to Katie and Kyrie are going to make the decision on what this roster looks like more than Sean Marks will. And that's where maybe the Celtics did do the right thing by not keeping Kyrie, because Danny Ainge isn't going to give up that level of control. And if Kyrie's just going to not like the team Danny Ainge puts together for him, goodbye.
Well, I mean, I don't even... I'll give the Celtics credit for not resigning, but at the same time, he wanted to bail. That's on him.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
It's not the Celtics
I shouldn't say the Celtics did the right thing. I should say the Celtics dodged a bullet.
Yeah, basically. I mean, he wanted to bail. Okay, let him bail. Especially if you're turning around and be like, well, Kemba, come hither.
The best chemistry guy in the NBA.
Let's get the dude who has been dying to be a second option for 8 years. He doesn't want his own team anymore. He sees what happens when you're a 6-foot guy with your own team and they can't put anything around you.
Yeah, that's the other deal with Brooklyn that worries me is it could be entirely different. If we get the Kevin Durant that can just will his way into a bucket at any given moment.
I mean, that's even for 11 minutes in Game 5. That's who he was. So
if that's the Kevin Durant we get, if we get 75% of that, even, you're looking okay.
Yeah.
As long as Kyrie is the number 2, you're looking good. But one thing I've learned about the NBA, if your best player is a point guard and he's not Steph Curry, you're going to struggle in the playoffs.
Steph Curry, before KD got there, 1 for 2 in the finals, by the way, and didn't have a great finals in either one of those. Okay in the second one, but they lost. If your best player is your point guard, period, it's tough if you don't have really good help.
Yeah, if Andre Iguodala's not coming off the bench in that first finals, they don't win that series.
No, I mean,
they were down 2-1. People forget that the 2015 Warriors were down 2-1 to a team that had lost Kevin Love and Kyrie Irving.
Yeah, if your best player is your point guard, you got to have really, really good things around him. And even though it's a point guard dominated league, you still need that. Everybody would be like, well, no, LeBron is 6'8". There's not that many point guards who are 6'8".
There's a reason that the Blazers fade hard every time they get to a Western Conference Finals or semifinals. It's because their best player is Damian Lillard, and they're not going to overcome guys whose best players are on the wing.
It's the Warriors' best in that series. They swept them without KD, but Steph was unbelievable. First and foremost, Steph was the best player in that series. You know who was the second best? Draymond. Draymond had 2 triple-doubles in 4 games, and he was spectacular in games 1 and 2. Utterly spectacular. Yep. And on the road, I can't remember if it was 3 or 4, that he was insanely good. And Klay made shots. And have those guys, it's okay if Steph's your best player.
And that's part of the thing, is point guards in this league will go cold. There are going to be times where Dame is just going to be cold. There's going to be times where Kemba's going to be cold. And that there's times when Steph's cold, and that's when you need a guy on the wing who can lead you to a win in a playoff series. And if Kevin Durant is 50% of himself, I'm not sure that the Nets have that.
Yeah, I don't think they hit 50% of him doesn't get over Milwaukee. I don't think he gets over Boston. I don't.
Toronto, maybe, depending on what happens this offseason.
Right.
But
yeah, I mean,
again, it's tough to say that the Nets made a mistake, because I don't think you have to sign Kyrie and KD.
But let's be real about something too. You said 50% of KD. What percentage do you get at Kyrie? Because 2017 Kyrie is, I don't want to say dead and gone, but he's on life support.
I mean,
he's not 100% like he used to be. He'll never be that again, right?
When
He'll
was the
still
last
get
time
50 4 times in 22 games.
Did he play 60 games last year?
Ooh, I don't think so. Maybe.
Because that's now, when's the last time Kyrie Irving played 60 games? He didn't.
It's
Or he played 67 last year, 60 in Boston in 2017. But 2017 Kyrie was the best version of Kyrie we've ever seen.
second team All-NBA.
And then he had knee
good.
surgery.
Yeah.
And then
Again.
we saw in 2018 probably the second best version of Kyrie we've ever seen, but he was actively harpooning his own team.
And he got hurt again, right? Not surgery, but like...
Well, he's always hurt.
Yeah, exactly.
He's just
Like,
a guy who's always
But I
hurt.
mean, these things add up.
Yeah.
Like, this is not a,
And
you just
now-
get hurt every year and he'll shake it off. Like, when you're 27, yeah, you'll shake it off. You got Kyrie under contract. Like, if he's, let's say it's 60 next year, and when he's 30 years old, you think he's just shaking it off?
He's not even shaking it off now.
Point guards' careers die fast if you're not tall. Like,
Yeah, and
Allen Iverson was gone in a flash.
Yep.
Like, it happens very quickly. If you're not a passer or you're not like if you're a little guy scorer, you're looking at 30-year-old
Which-
Kyrie Irving being a bench bucket.
And I think the thing with Kyrie is he can pass. He's not a passer.
No, he doesn't pass. Like, he can pass. He doesn't. We've seen what he had, like a 35 and 18 game or
Yeah.
something last
Yep.
year. Like, he can do it.
He just doesn't.
Doesn't do it.
So that's, yeah, if you get 50% of KD and you get 50% of Kyrie, you're like a 5 seed. I don't even know if you're better than Philly with whatever they do.
Five is nice. Like, 5 is everybody else played well, and Karis LeVert didn't get hurt all year.
Because again, like
DeAndre Jordan found himself. It's not like they have 50% of KD and 50% of Kyrie, and other than that, they're perfectly assembled. Like, they're decent,
and again, the East is good now, and it's not getting worse.
especially the top. Like,
It's not getting worse.
no, you need
Boston's
Kyrie
getting
said
better.
You need a third guy. They definitely need a third guy just to compete, not
Yeah,
to get
that's-
over the hump, just to be in the conversation. You need the third guy.
Like 2 years ago, remember when the Celtics went to the Eastern Conference Finals and we go, oh, that's the future in the East. And we didn't really pay much attention to Giannis and the Bucks. That's the real, like, immediate future. We're now, I think, at the point again where it's like, in 2 or 3 years, the Celtics are going to be the class of the East.
Should be.
And assuming everything goes forward and like now, Brooklyn has to compete with that. And their 2 stars are going to be on the wrong side of 30 coming off of bad injuries.
Yeah, and I mean, like, Philly's one superstar trade away, depending on what they get back from being in a good head coaching hire and a good front office hire. You can't.
They can swing Al Horford this offseason.
Let's say they swing bigger than Al Horford, like, or they keep Al Horford and swing Embiid. Like, if you got Simmons, Al Horford, Tobias, Josh Richardson, and Shooter X, that's a pretty damn good lineup. Like, it's an overpaid lineup, no doubt about it. But everybody's overpaid. It's the NBA.
They're in a situation, too, where they're just not going to be able to find relief for the next few years. So they have to figure out the best way to operate while being bloated on your payroll. And I think that they can because they're willing to trade Embiid. Mm-hmm. Embiid is going to net a fucking haul.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Like, I don't
Like,
think...
even with knee problem, even whatever, like, that dude, when he's on, is as dominant as anyone.
Not
and that
enough is
includes
said.
Giannis.
Joel Embiid is arguably a top 5 player in the NBA.
Was he first team all or was it Jokic? Who got first team last year? Either way, they both deserved it.
Right.
You're right. What you're saying is correct.
Like, when he's not nursing a knee injury, he is a top 5 player in the NBA.
No doubt.
It's just a terrible
And
fit.
he puts asses in seats. You think
Yeah.
a small market's not going to give up the farm for Joel Embiid?
And like, then you think when Embiid's not on the floor and you let Ben Simmons get minutes at the 4 or the 5, and you see what Ben Simmons can really do as a big man open floor passer, that's a potential top 5 player in the NBA.
I mean, with the ball in his hand, there are 2 or 3 guys faster than Ben Simmons in the NBA. Like, Giannis takes longer strides and he does, but like Russ and De'Aaron Fox, who else is faster with the ball in his hands? going
Healthy
down
John
court?
Wall.
Sure, maybe. I haven't seen
I don't
that
know
in
anymore,
2.5
yeah.
years. Yeah. Probably, if he's healthy, right. But like an Achilles tear and being
No, and I have
overweight
no
and
idea what
having
John
a million-
Wall is going to be. I
no
just
clue.
miss John Wall.
No clue. Just really has a lot of money. Good for him. But other than that, like,
Yeah, so that's the other thing. So, okay, here's an interesting question that I just thought of because we got onto a John Wall topic. The Supermax contract has never worked, correct?
define worked like to a championship,
Like,
because technically they lost in Golden State, but Steph, like, Katie got hurt and Clay got hurt and all these things. Like, it would have worked last year.
yeah,
Like, so in a sense, you're right. It didn't end up working.
it hasn't worked. It didn't work with Chris Paul.
It certainly
didn't
didn't work with Chris Paul. It certainly didn't work with Westbrook.
Well, it could still work with Steph, but that's a different situation. The way I'm drawing this up, because it failed miserably with John Wall.
Certain.
And Russ CP3, none of them worked.
Dame hasn't started his yet. Like,
gotta say that one's not gonna work.
I don't
Look at that team. I don't think that's gonna fly.
But he's worth every penny of that.
Right.
Though. It's like those guys, like, maybe John Wall isn't worth every penny of that. Maybe they gave it to him prematurely. Maybe Russ isn't worth every penny of that, though. I mean, over the last month and a half, Russell Westbrook is probably Western Conference Player of the Month for February.
Yeah.
Like, he's been very good when you've asked him to do the things he's very good at. The Supermax contract on its face is worth it to certain players to get that player. It can really fuck your franchise.
Yeah, and that's so.
It's why Indiana won't give it out.
The reason I brought it up, and it's good that you brought up Russell Westbrook being Western Conference Player of the Month in February, because I want to juxtapose it for the Eastern Conference Player of the Month in February. Jason Tatum's about to get a Supermax.
Can he? He can't.
He's going to get the designated rookie exception, and he's going to make an All NBA team.
Right, but
it's going to be a $220 million contract.
Can he do? But you can't, because he doesn't have the 10 years of player whatever thing. So his Supermax is only 5 for 190.
He's going to get the same one that Ben Simmons can get. With the All-NBA team, it goes to 220.
Fuck.
Are the Celtics in a rare enough position, being that he's only 21? He's only 21. Like, I
thought
3 days.
You had to have like 10 years of service to get the whatever, or like a certain amount of time. I thought he could only be designated for the rookie whatever, like Cat got. And like all those other guys got to where if he makes another All-NBA team, it's like 190. But if he isn't, it's 175 or something. I don't know how that works. Because 220, you can't give a dude off a rookie deal. 220 is too big. You can only go up a certain percentage.
I'm pretty sure if Ben Simmons makes an All-NBA team, his contract makes a disgusting jump.
Right, but I think the thing for Simmons is like the old Kawhi deal. Or Simmons, the thing for Tatum is like the old Kawhi deal, where he can't do that on an extension. If he waits and signs a full 5-year deal after his contract expires, he can do it, but he'd be a restricted free agent like they did with Kawhi in San Antonio.
That could be.
If you do the extension, you can only make a certain percentage of whatever, like a year in it, because it'd be a year. They already missed the 2-year extension window, so it'd be like, yeah.
Yeah, for Simmons, All-NBA third team is 190, All-NBA second is 196.8, All-NBA first is 203.6.
It's fucking wild.
So, yeah, because the DRE makes it 25% of the cap, and it can max at 30% with an All-NBA first team. So if Tatum signs that extension going into next year and then gets All-NBA first team, which would be insane because he plays the wrong position to get that.
Yeah, it's tough.
But if that were to happen, he would be looking at like a $210 million contract.
Secure the bag.
My question is...
Deuce's grandkids are going to college.
My question is, with him being 21, like, not to hammer home how good of a situation the Celtics are in right now too much, but with his age, with Jaylen Brown's age, with the fact that Kemba's locked up and the fact that you have Gordon Hayward ready to opt in and you own his bird rights, are they in a rare enough situation where they can hand out $220 million and just be fine?
It's one of those things where if a $220 million player is in front of you and you have $220 million,
you have to do it. Like, that's the problem with the Supermax that I've always looked at is like, yeah, you're going to fuck your franchise by giving Damian Lillard $220 million, but you can't not do it.
It's the reality of the salary cap is it might fuck your franchise. It's not like baseball where you can throw $300 million at Garrett Cole and be like, oh, well, whatever. Like,
or $410 million at Mike Trout.
Right, same deal. Like this is the max you can offer him, so you just give him every penny. Like that's what it is. Like you're bailed out of having to go above and beyond because of a max contract, so you have no choice. Like. If it were real, you'd be paying Jason Tatum like a baseball contract. It'd be like 9 years for $350, like something ridiculous like that. But this is what we can give you. So if you don't give him that, then you have hard feelings. Then you end up like Gordon Hayward in Utah, whereas like you only gave me the 4-year. See ya. Like you give him the 5, you keep him happy. Like you give him, even if 3 years from now you got to trade him, then you got to trade him. But that's not going to fucking happen. Like you just give him that money.
Speaking of Gordon Hayward in Utah, how brutal was that?
That was tough, man.
That was hard to watch.
They're mean.
That was kind of fucked up. It's been 3 years.
Bro, they're not nice people. Like, they're not nice people. Like, that's really what it is. Like, we did this a couple weeks ago. Or was it last week or a couple weeks ago? Where it's like, there's mean fan bases like Philly that are just drunk. Like, Utah. Utah's mean.
So I remember talking about this, and it was funny as hell. And I mean this with the utmost respect to you, but it sounded like a Colin Cowherd bit when you were like,
don't say that to me.
It did, though, because you're like, some fan bases, they're just drunk. And you don't want to
Just
hang
one,
out.
just the one, though.
You don't want to hang out with them when they're that drunk because they get kind of mean. But then there are other fan bases that are just mean, and that's Utah.
They don't drink in
that's
Utah. They're not
cowards.
drunk. They don't drink in Utah. They're just mean.
They're ripped off caffeine.
They're just mean. They're mean people.
Honest to God, that was some of the most disrespectful fan treatment I had ever seen. It's 3 years removed, and he shattered his fucking leg.
He made one All-Star team, and he got you to the second round of the playoffs once. It's not like he won a championship for you and bailed. Like, just give the guy a break.
They are obsessed with Gordon Hayward.
And it's like, you understand where you live. Understand that, like, people don't move to Utah for the weather or the whatever. Like, you're there because you were born there or your family's there or whatever. This is a draft. No other avenue in capitalism has a situation where you're telling people who are the best at what they do where they have to go.
Yep.
If he decides after 7 years, hey, I don't want to fucking live here anymore, that's his right. He's not from there. He doesn't have, like, he can go wherever the hell he wants. This is a capitalism. Like, the NBA is capitalism. For the first 7 years, you're told what you got to do. Then you get to spread your wings. It's like telling a college kid you don't get to decide where you want to go play in college. That would never work. They'd rebel.
Yeah. And boy, he hasn't played well lately either.
No.
But that was tough, man. Watching that was tough. And then every time he missed a shot, they'd cheer. Like, they were louder rooting against Hayward than they were rooting for the Jazz.
It is what it is, man. Like, I'm not gonna boo Reggie Jackson, but like, I don't think there's anybody who would come back to Detroit like that I would just boo mercilessly like that, even if they left. Like,
has Detroit had anyone leave like that?
Fedorov.
Yeah, true, and that's still not great.
He's way better than Gordon Hayward. And they still won't retire his number.
Yeah, that relationship's never going to be good.
Which I have hope that, like, Yzerman will be like, this is my guy, even if he left. We're putting his number up there. We're getting into a hockey tangent right now.
Even more recently, though, has Detroit, like, because Justin Verlander, it felt like they were doing him a favor, right?
They were doing him until we found out what happened in Houston in 2017. But at the time, they were doing him a favor, and I was happy to see him go.
Yeah,
because the Tigers had plummeted, and he clearly still had a lot left.
Ben Wallace, maybe?
They didn't boo him.
How could you?
No, they didn't boo him. And you're right. That's a good example because, in a sense, Joe D lowballed him, and like they should have given him the money. But if they had given him that money, they couldn't have gotten a McDice. They couldn't have gotten those other guys that helped him stay good. Remember, Ben Wallace left after 2006. They still made the conference finals 2 more years,
and they whipped Ben Wallace his Bulls in the playoffs.
Yep, like that's a good example. And I don't believe they booed him. I wasn't there, but I don't think they booed him.
I don't think anyone was upset that they whipped his ass, but I don't think he got booed.
No, I don't remember him getting booed.
I went to one of those playoff games, and I don't remember booing.
Yeah, I don't remember him getting booed.
Yeah, it's weird. Like, I was just trying to think when you brought that up, if there was any player in this city that's left and been really antagonized for it. Everybody that's left the Lions, it's like, good thing, bro. Good for you.
The only time that
this city's weird because, like, no other city, I think, embraces players who leave their teams than this one.
They certainly don't in hockey. They certainly don't in hockey here. It's not like if you leave in hockey, they're still pissed. Even if we're really bad, like, they don't care. They're still pissed if you leave the Wings in hockey, just because the Wings are like that franchise for hockey. But I don't know. Like, yeah, if Matt Stafford left, I'd be like, good for you. Way to go, man.
Yeah.
Like, he's not gonna, but I'd be like,
you wouldn't boo him when he comes back to Ford Field. You'd cheer him.
Of course. The only player that I remember, it wasn't because he left. The only time I ever remember someone getting mercilessly booed in Detroit was when Artest came back after the brawl.
Right.
Like, that's the only time I ever remember Detroit booing someone mercilessly for an entire game. Like, and deservingly so.
I'm trying to think of Tigers players, but even then it was like booing our own players because we're just like Brandon Inge, I think, was getting booed at the end of his career.
Shout out to Brandon Inge, man. That's a name.
Those swings and misses, bro. He was getting...
Remember when we went in the home run derby and didn't have any home runs?
0 home runs. He had like 30 on the season.
27.
Yeah, and he sits in the home run derby and he's got 0 home runs. That was incredible.
Brandon Inge. He played... This is a real true story. I was a junior in high school, and I called in to Stoney and Wojo at 10 o'clock in the morning to try to convince them that the Tigers should not get rid of Brandon Inge. I was in a study hall in the student council room at Detroit Catholic Central, and I called in to Stoney and Wojo to tell them, do not trade for Brandon Inge because he can play all 8 positions. He's not a pitcher, but he can do all 8. I remember that to this day, and they laughed me off the air. 16 years old.
That's not a great team. He was in like 203. You're like, no, we can't get rid of him.
He's so versatile. He'll find his swing again.
I had a Brandon Inge jersey, and even I, what was it, like 2011? Even I was like, get this motherfucker out of town.
Yeah. He was something, dude. He could have been. A dude who was a catcher and then became like a Gold Glove third baseman. Like really was. I don't think he won a Gold Glove, but he was spectacular in the hot corner.
Once he left, I loved him again. It was just when he was here and we were really good and we no longer needed him. I was like, get this guy out.
Like,
I can't.
After 06, I was like, oh,
batting ninth and hitting 203. I don't want to see it anymore, bro. Go.
I did not think we would get to Brandon Inge today. Just start talking the old Tiger. Maglio and his 13 different families and 13 different major league cities that Maglio had. That team is... Oh, I miss that team.
Well, and then you got Miguel Cabrera with his different families in different cities.
Polanco's big old head. Todd Jones. What a team that was.
Polanco, every time he'd come up to bat, he looked like the batter's helmet was going to explode.
Sean Casey at first base. Oh,
God, Sean Casey. Remember when he hit that triple and he had to get oxygen in the dugout?
Who was the shortstop on that team? Why can I not
Carlos Guillen.
Carlos Guillen. Oh, he drove me crazy at the end. I wanted him gone so bad. Oh, God.
You remember he was the cleanup hitter before Cabrera came in.
God damn.
Carlos Guillen hitting fourth.
Oh, I wanted him gone so bad at the end. I was like, why do you ever hit right-handed, Carlos? Why are you hitting right-handed? Stop it. Like, you're not a switch hitter.
Yeah, Pudge just throwing out everybody.
This has been a great 5 minutes of nostalgia for the 06 Tigers.
Dude, I miss that team. That's the first team. Like, when I was coming up in sports, I watched the Patriots, I watched the Celtics, and we had season tickets, so I watched Tiger baseball. And the 06 Tigers were the first team that I really fell in love with.
They were the first baseball team I ever fell in love with because it was the first time they were good in my life. Like, they weren't good ever. It was like, what am I going to root for Bobby Higginson and Damian Easley?
Right, because, like, I always loved baseball, and it was like, I got to go watch fucking Dimitri White. And
until 06, my favorite baseball players were never Tigers. They were never Tigers.
I remember, so I'm ashamed of this memory, but I remember playing Little League, and we had like baseball cards made, on picture day.
Oh yeah,
they'd make you a baseball card.
Yeah,
and they'd ask you who's your favorite player, and I remember it was like probably 2002 or 2003, and I said Alex Rodriguez.
You know what I wrote, and my mother spelled terribly wrong on the back of the card? Miguel Tejada.
Hey, MVP, MVP shortstop. Yeah. He was on the cover of MVP Baseball 2003.
My mother's spelling of Tejada was not even close.
Yeah, dude, the 06 Tigers were the first team I really... Like, it was the first time where I was like, whoa, we have Maglio Ordonez. This dude fucking rocks.
I will never forget where I was, who I was with, what I was doing when he hit that home run.
Dude, I was camping, and... it was a Boy Scouts thing, and I was camping, and we didn't have any TV or anything. So my dad pulled his truck up and opened all the doors and turned the radio all the way up. So we were all like, we were playing poker or something. I think
a cold ass night for you. Jesus.
Yeah, it was not warm, but we were sitting around the fire. Like, we had a tent set up that was kind of open air, and all the kids were playing poker, and we were hanging out listening to the game. And then Mags hit that home run. The whole fucking campground, you could just hear people 500 feet away screaming. It was incredible,
dude. The second he hit the ball, like, you knew it right away. They didn't have to show it leave. Like, you knew it right away. I was in my living room, my parents and my godparents. Like, everybody went freaking nuts. The second he hit it, everybody jumped. Everybody started screaming like, "Oh my God, the Tigers are going to the World Series!" Like 3 years ago, they lost 119 games.
Yeah, yeah, man, I want them to be good again.
Oh God, I miss it.
I love baseball when the Tigers are good.
I don't love.
I'll never watch 162
anymore. Like
games.
Like I can't do that. I can't do that like I used to. Like when I was in college and when I played baseball, or even when I was in high school, like it was. I could watch every night. It's like, 7:30, I'll watch the Tigers. Like, I don't do that.
I think I still could. Like, when they're good, I would do other things, but I think I could still put it on the TV every night.
When they had great pitchers, it was awesome.
Yeah, when you had must-see JV, and then the next night you had Scherzer, and then the next night you had David freaking Price,
you could turn
and then
on
you had
the
Doug
TV.
Fister, and then Rick Porcello booning the fucking rotation.
Exactly.
Future Cy Young, Rick Porcello at the 5 spot.
Legitimately the most hated I've ever hated a Tiger is Rick Porcello. Like, I wanted Rick Porcello gone after his rookie year.
Well, the problem with Rick Porcello was he was sold to us like he was Nolan Ryan coming up in the farm system.
The problem with Rick Porcello is he's a sinker baller who doesn't throw low. Like,
yeah, that's
not, like, it used to drive me nuts. I hated Rick Porcello, but like when you could turn on the TV and see a Cy Young winner pitching, no matter what night it was like, holy shit! Thank you, Mike Ilitch. Like, thank you for spending this money.
Yeah.
Thank you, because every night I could see Verlander, Scherzer, Sanchez. I mean, Galarraga threw a perfect game, for Christ's sake. Like,
the 2013 team that lost to Boston, I will go to my grave believing that's one of the 5 best teams that never won a championship.
talent-wise, to me, it's the best team assembled since Murderers Row. Like, you can look at the 20s Yankees and sense that you don't have another lineup and starting rotation like that.
It's unbelievable that they didn't, because they Torrey Hunter in right field, Miggy at first.
Think of their 1 through 6.
Who was at second then? Because that was pre-Kinsler.
Omar Infante.
Oh,
and
fucking
a good
Omar Infante.
Not the shitty one who went to Miami and got good. The good one we got back from Miami.
No, was
Omar
Miggy
Infante.
was Miggy at third and Prince was at first?
No, Prince DH'd.
Yes, that's it. So Miggy was at third.
Castellanos. A very young Castellanos.
Yep. Boy, I forgot that lineup. I've really come out of that lineup. But man, that rotation, that bullpen blew. That bullpen was so goddamn bad.
Delman fucking Young.
ALCS MVP Delman Young.
Fucking
That's
Young.
ALCS MVP Delman Young
you know
to
what?
you.
I loved him when he did it. Fucking Baltimore. Fucking Baltimore. Come on.
Okay, so the most mad, and this will be where we end it, but the most angry I have ever been watching sports in my life is the day after Jabba Chamberlain gave up like 7 runs in the 8th inning against the Orioles in Game 2, or in Game 1, when they got blown out in the 8th. In Game 2, Brad fucking Ausmus went right back to the stove that he just burned his hand on and put Jabba Chamberlain back in the game in the 8th inning.
The most mad I've been in my entire life is a collective every day. Brad Ausmus was the manager of the Tigers.
Like, it's not... It was not a well-assembled bullpen.
Correct.
But you had Al Albuquerque with a 2.2 ERA and a vicious fucking slider sitting in that bullpen, and you never went to him.
I mean, you want to do it the next year? Like, why the fuck you going to Benoit again? Like,
Yes,
what are we doing?
same thing.
What are we doing? What are we doing?
Well, that was even Leland in 13 when they lost to the Red Sox. Was why are you pulling Joaquin Benoit out of the fucking bullpen to give up grand slams to David Ortiz and
Again.
Shane fucking Victorino?
The fly in Hawaiian. Like, they're managers in baseball are the most infuriating of any coach, right?
Yeah, 'cause
like,
I
there's
think
football coaches that you just think like, this guy's just dumb. But
I
like
think
a manager in baseball, it's right in front of you.
Baseball managers have the highest impact on your wins-loss over an entire season.
For sure.
Because they have one job. Don't fuck up how you manage the bullpen. And somehow we always had managers who would fuck up their bullpen management.
No one ever blows a game because you called a hit and run in the 3rd inning. Like,
Right.
managers call shit all the time. Like, it happens, whatever. Play the fucking matchups late. Like, that's all you got to do. Just play the fucking matchups late. And I know now they're going to fuck because a guy comes in, he's got to face 3 batters, so that's over. But, like, back then, just play the goddamn matchups. Like, this guy doesn't hit well against this guy. Nope, we're going to leave Benoit in anyway. Like, hey, dumbass, go to the pen. Like...
Yeah, that was like Al Albuquerque, that whole Baltimore series never got on the mound. And I go, this guy has been incredible all year. Jabba Chamberlain is 100 years old.
And
What the fuck are we doing
Chamberlain
here?
is also Jabba Chamberlain. So, like,
Now I'm mad all over again. Baseball's coming up, and the thing with baseball lately is whenever it comes up, I don't necessarily get excited. This year, I'm fiending for it because I'm playing fantasy baseball. I've been watching highlights. Fernando Tatis, the shortstop in San Diego, is fucking electric. There are electric
him, I
baseball
should.
players. I watched a 10-minute video of Fernando Tatis Jr. highlights, and I fell in love with this kid. And I kept thinking, if only the Tigers were good, because I would actually really get excited. Right now, all that happens when baseball comes up is I start thinking about 2014 and 2013, and I get mad.
I didn't watch an entire baseball game, like Tigers game, all year last year. Not one. I maybe at the most sitting probably caught 4 outs in one sitting at the most. Like, I just didn't watch. I'm like, they're not going to be any good.
I think that's
I don't
the
know
thing.
who these guys are. You could name me, like, I can't give you the Tigers lineup. I literally don't know any position. I don't. I can't. I'm trying to think if I can think of one starting position player on the Tigers right now.
You can think of one.
I'm trying.
Well, if DH doesn't count as position, it might be.
Yeah, that I did. I know the name Nico Goodrum, but but I have no idea what position he plays. I have no idea what position he plays. I'm trying to think of what position he plays, and I'm like, I don't know anybody else's name. Like, Iglesias is long gone, right?
Yeah, he's not on the team.
Castellanos, they traded. I knew Castellanos till they traded him. Boyd. Okay, pitchers. I got pitchers. Boyd. Yeah. I got Norris is still there, right?
Yeah. Fulmer.
He was hurt all year, right?
Yeah, he won't play till like July.
Yeah. I don't go around the... What position does Nico Goodrum play?
Outfield.
Okay. So go around the infield. I got nothing.
Jaimer Candelario and Dawel Lugo at third base.
I'm sorry, what?
Yeah. Other than that, I struggle too.
Was that two people?
When I was doing my fantasy baseball research, I was going through like Tigers players because I just want to find like homegrown guys that I can really get into. All of them were minor leaguers. Isaac Paredes, I drafted as a minor leaguer. Matt Manning, I drafted as a minor leaguer.
I've never heard of those people. Played for the Tigers last year.
No, they're in the minor league system.
I know. Oh, what's
they're
the pitcher?
Super good.
The pitcher from Auburn. They got
Casey Mize.
That guy. I know him. When he's the ace, I'll watch again.
No, yeah, that's the thing. Like in August or September when they call him up to give him a couple starts, I'll watch Tiger baseball.
Yeah, for sure. I'll watch that guy. He's supposed to be the future. Sure.
Him, Matt Manning's really good. Tariq Skubal's really good.
Tariq Skubal.
Yeah. He's really good.
I'm liking what we're doing with these prospects, these names. What was the other? We got Nico, we got Tariq.
Wait till I tell you who the potential number 1 overall pick is this year out of Arizona, maybe?
Not the kid who was supposed to go to Notre Dame to play football.
Spencer Torkelson is his name.
Okay, no, I'm thinking of a different guy who I think he already got drafted. Dude did the Reds get the number 1 overall pick? I can't remember. I don't even know the guy's name. I'm not going to try this baseball talk.
This is the first year that I'm really into. But Spencer Torkelson, he plays in the Pac-12, I think.
Torkelson.
That's a name and a half.
Yeah.
Him or Austin Martin, which is an obvious easy nickname.
Okay.
Those are the potential top pick for this year.
I'm with it.
I think we're doing good. It's going to be like 2 or 3 years, and I hope Alavila's not the guy to put it together.
Yeah,
he's a shithead.
That's gone.
Wild Tigers tangent to end the podcast.
We get James McCann back?
Oh, I have no idea who catches. Damn. No clue.
It's my guy, cousin Jimmy.
I'm still doing research, but wild Tigers tangent to end this. But I had no idea we would get there.
Didn't think we'd get there.
That was incredible.
I had fun.
That was good.
I had fun.
It was it's surprisingly not angry for having just talked Tiger baseball.
It was oddly therapeutic.
Anyway, that's the mashup for this week. We'll see you next week.
See ya.